I think there's maybe like one quarter of one song on this entire album where I'm like, oh, this is kind of like an R&B song, right?
And the thing is too is like again, these are sometimes on the same song. It's
Yeah,
like you know how they used to play that thing on the radio. I'm sure they still do, where it's like we play you 5 seconds of a song, you got to guess the song.
this
You
would be
could not use this
impossible.
album. You could not use this album in that. Disqualified. Disqualified
Yeah.
completely. Good afternoon, beautiful people. This is another episode of Album Mode. We review a new album every single week. We look at the lyrics, the production, the overall aesthetic of the album, and how that album fits into the context of that artist's career. For everyone watching on YouTube, we thank you. We appreciate you. Like this video, subscribe to us, and leave us a comment. Let us know how wrong we always are. My name is Adriel Smiley, aka Champion Scribe, and we are here like we are every single week with His Royal Highness, aka the Bunny, aka No Longer a Munch, aka Green Goblin, King Grant.
Welcome back, everybody. Album mode. This time we're talking about Underscores and their album You.
Mm-hmm.
Underscores, I'm gonna be honest with you, I know nothing about. But the album cover looked cool. We needed to review something today. And I heard, I was clicking through a bunch of albums that came out, and I was like, this song's pretty good. One of these songs are pretty good. Let me tap in. I was like, oh, new album. Let me bring this to Adriel.
Listen, I'm happy that you did, because there's a little connection here to someone we've reviewed in the past. So I
Okay.
think we can start right there because it's not as often we have basically a totally new artist. We've never reviewed her before. We've never done her music before at all.
Hmm.
You basically don't know anything about them. I don't know anything about them. A rarity on album mode. But the little connection we have is that she did open for 100 gex.
Oh, it all makes sense now.
The
It all.
math is starting to math. I didn't know if you knew that already. I felt like I could drop that on you. Now that the math is starting to math, we can kind of move forward a little bit.
Oh.
Um, a younger person, okay, born in 2000. This is their third album, their debut album, not that long ago, 2021. Okay,
Hmm.
so young artists in terms of age in just the world, and young in their career in terms of being professional. Now, the first album, Fishmonger, was called All These Genres. Okay, and I want to start here so we can talk about genre and what you would classify this as.
Hmm.
Called Fishmonger indie rock, bedroom pop, and ambient music. Now, different than this, I would say. I don't know if I'd use any of those, maybe one of them. I don't know in those terms here. Um, her real name, April Harper Gray from San Francisco. Big dubstep influence. That is clear. I watched a few of her interviews. I actually watched the video for this album where she is dancing in the mall. Um, she got some moves.
Yeah.
She got some moves. I was surprised to see a few of those. But what would you call this genre of music? Because I think of two things. One, there's enough variety on these songs where it all isn't one genre, and sometimes it feels like multiple genres on one song. So
Yeah,
what do you call this?
I agree. I think we talked about this with 100 Gex ages ago, where like the umbrella term is hyperpop. And I feel like this is a hyperpop album just because of the amount of genres that are being mashed together per song, like on a per song basis, and
Mhm.
then from song to song. I would consider it hyperpop. But she is melding EDM, not really trance, but like yeah, EDM, like four on the floor EDM, house. Then there's rapping. She raps on one of the songs, a couple of the songs. Whether or
Mhm.
not the rapping is good is debatable.
Hey, watch your mouth. We just got started.
There's rapping, right? Not a lot of hip hop, but she does rap.
Mhm.
But it's very electronic based, so I would consider it hyper pop. Um, But there's a lot of good things happening here, man. I want to talk about the production so bad. So if you got anything else you want to say, say it now or forever hold your peace.
I think there's why we want to start with genre because I think there's a lot of rock in here as well.
Yeah.
And I think that when we talk about hyperpop, the rock part of hyperpop to me is very prevalent,
Hmm.
but I feel like it almost gets misclassified here.
Hmm.
Um, I saw in an interview she called it future bass.
Okay.
Um, Not in her album, but just kind of like this catch-all genre.
Hmm.
Hadn't heard that term before, so that's a pretty interesting one. I think talking about production, there's so many ways to go because I have songs on here that I love the production, but none of them were my actual favorite song on here, which is a very rare thing where it's like I like the production on here, but these
Yeah.
songs over here are actually my favorite songs. What song do you think is a production standout to you that you're like, this is the one I think of when I hear you?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think that's a tough question. I would say maybe Hollywood Forever. Maybe. Maybe that even that Hollywood Forever is kind of given maybe even no, I got it. It's Innuendo. I get you. That is the track. This is like the center of everything else that's happening. But the amount of people that I sensed notes of, it was like drinking wine and you're just like, notes of, herbs and notes of, cauliflower or something like that. The amount of times where I wrote down in my notes, I'm like, oh, this is like, for example, Innuendo, I'm like, oh, this is kind of like a Brockhampton song. Like this kind of reminds me of Brockhampton. Especially at the beginning that like the serpent like sound that kind of reminds me of what was that their big single that came out? I think it was Gold, right? By Brockhampton, where that's a similar sound, but it's just like also like that darkness and the drums being the driver of that song. It's very, very similar to like Saturation One era Brockhampton, which is almost 10 years ago now, by the way.
That sounds crazy to hear. That was 10. Like I feel old hearing that.
Yeah,
Um,
Saturation One, that
wow.
was in 2017, my guy. We're in 2026.
Wow, what a time to be alive.
Yeah.
Innuendo is one of those for me as well. Like this to me is like if there was like a single for this record, Innuendo would be it.
Hmm.
And no, you mentioned Brockhampton. No, I'm gonna take it even, before that. This to me felt like this would be like a Gwen Stefani single if she had
Oh,
stuck around long
wow.
enough.
Yeah, I totally
Like
understand what you're saying.
that's where I think this is going. And it's so interesting because I think there's the influence of like all the things that influence this project. That's why I brought up dubstep earlier because
Hmm.
she has mentioned being a huge fan of dubstep. And for anyone who's old enough to remember, dubstep hit the street like crack in the 80s. Like,
2011?
oh my goodness. Like
Skrillex was on
it
top of the world, bro. You could have touched Skrillex in 2011, for
no,
real.
listen, this is an album mode exclusive, and for anyone who's known me long enough, you know what I'm talking about. I hosted a TV show in high school called Now You Know, hosted and produced with the great Connor Jones, and our theme song was dubstep. We made that beat ourselves, and it was dubstep. That's how you know dubstep was everywhere. So I just think about those influences when it comes to an album like this. For someone who's almost newer in the game in terms of first album being 2021 and being younger. And why I mentioned 2021 is because the music scene changed post pandemic,
Hmm.
not just in terms of how we, use music in our lives and how we listen to music, but how people make music. And so for all the artists that we review who are first album is 2022 or 2021, I'm looking at it a little bit differently. And this is an example of that. I have so many good production things on here. Like the
Yeah.
production on here is so interesting. I chose this album to someone because of course I said, listen, like what do you guys think of this? I gotta hear what people are thinking. Someone was like, it's not my cup of tea, but it's very interesting. Like it's
Hmm.
almost like I have to listen more. And there's all these moments where they had that Hollywood Forever.
Yep.
Um, I think is one of those, and you mentioned that before. Those synth stabs in the pre-chorus. This was kind of the song to me where I was like, oh, she understands song structure.
Okay.
I think to the naked ear, if that's even a term, it might sound a little messy and conjointed and muddled, but to me, I said, this is someone who understands song structure and can live within it and break out when need be because it leads into the collapse and the adding of the percussion, then the build up into that big beat drop. And I'm like, yeah, this is someone who understands what they're doing. They're choosing not to make it smooth.
Yeah,
They're choosing to make it more, grungy, we'll call it. So that's the thing where I was like, oh, she's doing this on purpose. A lot of intentionality here.
yeah. And I'm gonna say something that you never would have thought I would ever say on this podcast. When listening to Hollywood Forever, and I think I was at a minute 119, and that guitar came in, and it came in only for like a couple of seconds, a few notes. Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun. And I was like, this song needs more guitar. Where is the guitar? Where
You had
is
you had me terrified. You had me terrified. Yeah, I agree with you because that's
where
why I
is that
mentioned the rock
guitar, bro?
influence earlier. Yeah, you're
Bring that guitar back, man. Holy shit. This song could have been 7 minutes long, honestly. I have so many things to say about this, unless you want to say so.
mhm.
Go ahead.
No, no, no. Go ahead, go ahead.
When I listen to this, I first of all, I love that guitar. Just a couple of notes. It's really just a handful of notes. And then it's gone. And this song has so many transitions, from what I would consider like kind of like a, like almost like Pink Panthers-esque type of production in the beginning. And then it's transitioning into a more 2010s EDMs type of production song. So a lot, the drums, right? And then even the rising, the what's that? I'm trying to remember the EDM terminology from back then. I forgot the millennial whoop. They have that oh, she has that in her song as well. And then it gets to the end where the guitar is the outro instrument. And I was listening to this song, and that's at 417. I'm like, this song should have a whole second part where it's just led by the guitar. Or there should be a remix where it's just primarily the guitar. Because I was floating away on that guitar, bro. And that is a new sensation for me. I was like,
New year, new year, new me.
yeah, for real. Because I was like, whoa, let me hold on a second. My guitar is going. I was just floating away, man. I love that. This is probably one of my favorite songs I've heard this year, to be honest with you.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It's so funny because when I heard this album, this sounded exactly like I imagined it to sound like, just from how you described it. I was like, this is definitely some stuff that Demar would find interesting.
Hmm.
So the first time I listened, I'm like, listen, knowing Demar is exactly what I expected. This is exactly what I expected. So just to hear how much you love it, I love to hear that as
Hmm.
well. Um, the piece,
Okay.
the piece is one of the more, I guess we'll call it different songs
Hmm.
than the others on here, just because of the lack of drums. The vocal chops do a lot of the work on this song,
Yeah.
and you're kind of waiting for it. You're waiting for the drums to come in. You're waiting for that drop,
Hmm.
and I think like this is one of those where I go back to the idea of understanding song structure because the beat is almost made with that in mind, and it kind of it changes tempo to kind of suffice. Where you're like, you don't get the beat drop you're waiting for, but you get something else in its place.
Right.
And it's almost like the understanding of the listener thinking, okay, where's this? Where's this gonna drop? Where's the
Hmm.
ascension? Where? And I think we've heard songs like that where we're like, okay, the drums should have came in 90 seconds ago,
Hmm.
or the song feels incomplete because the drums never came in. This is not one of those songs. So I really like it for that reason, and I'm gonna get to more of it in lyrics.
Yeah, me too. Oh, the lyric. Yeah, this is one of my songs for lyrics as well. This song kind of reminded me. I'm not even comparing this artist to her, but it just reminded me of like Brent Faiyaz song where there's just like no drums. You're just using all the other elements that are available to you except for the drums, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Hmm.
The vocal distortion and making it so much wider for the production is super cool to me. And she produces everything, yo.
Hmm.
That's crazy to hear, like considering how many elements that are used in each of the songs. It's pretty insane to me. One more song I wanted to bring up. Well, I actually have two, but I'll try and narrow it down here. Do It.
Hmm.
Do It. This was like catnip for me because this intro is straight out of a Daft Punk that like did it. That's straight out of the Daft Punk catalog. But also, we're 11 seconds in, right? More guitar. And I was like, oh, that guitar sounds. Wait, hold on a second. It's feeling very Justin Timberlake-ish to me right now. This is feeling very Justin Timberlake-ish.
Hmm.
That guitar, this whole section, and she even does that. If you want it, I'm like, hold on, like all I'm seeing all these people just smash together. Daft Punk, Justin Timberlake, and Khalees. Because I was like, that's how how she says, if you want it, you want it, you can take. You know what I mean? For a milkshake. So I was like, what the fuck is going on in this song, man? Like, this is a very interesting combo of stuff.
I think all those things is like makes me think that there's more for underscores. Like
Right.
we'll talk about that a little bit later, but all those things make me feel like you're comparing her to Daft Punk and Justin Timberlake. I compared her to Gwen Stefani. We're talking about some of the biggest stars from 20 years ago. Like
Yeah.
that's the thing is like we're not just seeing like the underground of 20 years ago. We're talking about the biggest stars of
Hmm.
20 years ago. And to me, before we even get into lyrics on my last bit of production is I thought this album as so kind of evolutionary, not revolutionary,
Hmm.
evolutionary. And this is kind of the version of a lot of those EDM, dance, dubstep, even garage acts who it's like she does all this production. If she
Hmm.
didn't have any voice on this would still be an incredible
Yeah, we
album.
go crazy.
So the fact that she is actually voicing this as well,
Hmm.
and you're talking about sometimes sings, sometimes raps, uses voice modulation almost expertly all over this project. Like that's the evolution. We never got to see Skrillex, Diplo, those type of artists have their voices be stars as well.
Hmm.
That never happened.
That's true.
So this is the evolution of like the production is on the level of anybody we've ever seen really, and then they're voicing it as well. And I think you brought up again Timberlake, Gwen Stefani. The thing about all those artists is that they are working with the hip hop producers who do this, the
Right.
Pharrell, the Timbaland. So it's almost like
Kanye
she's
West?
coming, Kanye West, like she's coming from this is like almost like a hip hop thing she's doing, where
Hmm.
I produce everything, it's expansive, and then also I'm spitting all over it. Like, so I think the kind of ingenuity of that is almost going under the radar because the production is just taking over anything anybody is hearing. My last production, okay,
Okay.
this song, near the top, I thought it was such an interesting way to kind of like start the project off, even though it does fit, is music.
Okay.
Um, and this is one of those records that I was like, you said like the beginning of Do It is catnip for you.
Yeah.
When this song started, I thought about that because I was like, you're gonna throw a lot of people off with that start. A certain group of people
Yeah, that's true.
do not want to hear that start. And why I thought of that is because vocally, this is one of the songs where she's more like singing.
Hmm.
And so it's like to have this kind of production and then you sing on it, it's like you almost have to be patient as a listener to get to how good those two sound together. Because that beat at first, you don't think that's gonna be met with smooth vocals. Like
Yeah,
that
that's
those
true.
it doesn't go together. So it's like as a listener, even if you're into the beginning, you might think it's about to get even more hype. But it reminded me a little bit of Pink Pantheress, where on her latest work, like Pink Panther sings way more. And you're like, oh, you're a vocalist now. The production is still expansive, but the vocals are coming in really smooth. Something that you kind of asked Georgia Smith to do, who I think would have an interesting place on this album. But that's one thing where I said, this album is almost for a more sophisticated music listener. And usually that sound like this is not the kind of sound you say when you say those sentences. But music was the song where I was like, no, this is for a sophisticated listener. If you're a certain kind of listener, this is gonna throw you off before you even get into it.
Yeah, I think that you're right. I also think that it's kind of on two ends of the spectrum. Like I think that if you're really into music, really into hyperpop, or if you have what hyperpop artists really reward is people who listen to different genres, like lots of different genres,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Talking about Justin Timberlake, Gwen Stefani, but then I'm like, yeah, Daft Punk, Pink Panthers, you know what I mean? So being able to, it shows like a lot of like musical dexterity and understanding to be able to be like, yeah, I'm actually gonna just take those guys that you just mentioned. I'm gonna smash them together and make a bunch of songs about around it, right? And you're even mentioning Georgia Smith, who makes R&B music, right? So, and I think there's maybe like one quarter of one song on this entire album where I'm like, oh, this is kind of like an R&B song, right? So,
And the thing is too is like again these are sometimes on the same song. It's
yeah,
like you know how they used to play that thing on the radio. I'm sure they still do, where it's like we play you 5 seconds of a song, you got to guess the song.
this
You
would be
could not use this
impossible.
album. You could not use this album in that disqualified. Disqualified
Yeah.
completely. You said you have peace as one of your lyrics.
Oh,
So
yes.
so do I. Before we even go into that, because we may have the exact same lyrics, knowing us,
Hmm.
is I actually want to read what they have in Genius for this song. I don't do this usually on this section,
Hmm.
and on the podcast at all, but this is one of the few times where they explained it pretty well, and it really sets up what she actually says. They said, "This song is about changing yourself just to keep someone in your life, even when you know it might be hurting both of you." Across different moments and places, April underscores keeps falling into the same pattern, marrying the other person, staying quiet, and going along with things just to avoid losing them. Even when she realizes that it might be making things worse, she admits she still wants them here. In this sense, the peace isn't real peace.
Mm. Okay. I see. I can see where that person is coming from. I think when I listened to it and when I read the lyrics, I just had a different I guess interpretation of what was happening. I kind of found it really funny that she was like I think this song is first of all pretty well written and a lot of the songs are actually well written, which is kind of
Low key.
I'm like what? Not that hyperpop can't be
Yeah.
well written, but it's like it's kind of weird to listen to this music and be like, actually, you know what? If you really listen to the words, the words are actually really good.
Yeah, so not on my bingo card.
But this song, I thought it was really interesting for the piece because she keeps bringing up, I'm not smoking if not smoking. Hold on a second. What? Oh, I'm looking at the wrong set of lyrics. That's why. Okay. Where she says, yeah, smoke number one, I was in Brooklyn. And then in verse two, she's like, smoke number two was at Coachella. And then in verse three, she says, smoke number three, I was in Europe. And I think, in verse one, I think we'll just set up everything here. Or actually, verse one and the hook, right? So verse one is like, yeah, smoke one, I was in Brooklyn. I still don't know whose house I walked into. Easily influenced, but I don't get it addicted. You said I could keep the pack if I promised you. No sacred item pressed against my lips. The scent stubbornly cling to my fingertips. To me, you're anyone. To you, I'm just a stranger. Oh, we took a hit. I taste vanilla. Okay. Chorus. Yeah, I don't speak unless I'm spoken to, and I won't smoke unless you're smoking too. Yeah, yeah. I just want to keep the peace with you. So there's a few things here, and I don't want to get too deep because I mean she definitely wrote it in a way that you can like layer it this way. But first thing she says is like or one of the first things I want to point out is like I won't smoke unless you're smoking too. And remember I mentioned like she placed literally three times ever basically. Smoke number one was in Berlin. Smoke number two was in Europe. Or smoke number two was at Coachella. And smoke number three was in Europe, right? And in the lyrics, it literally said the girl gave her, or the person, I don't even know if it's a girl, but the person gave her the whole pack that she can keep. And she can remember the only three times she's ever smoked from it because she said, easily influenced, but I don't get addicted. So this is how finite the memory of this song is, where she can remember the exact three cigarettes she's ever smoked, and she's never smoked any other cigarettes, and able to place each verse into a story, right? So this is what I'm talking about, where I'm like, it's layered and like really good, like that, genuine. To be honest, that shouldn't really exist on a hyperpop song. Like she's kind of doing something um outside of anybody that was making hyperpop, maybe Charlie XCX, but this is more layered than anything Charlie XCX was doing on Brat, right? So I'm like,
Mm.
I just think that that's amazing. There's more to that song, but I just want to point out like how layered the song in a hyperpop song like this can be. I'm kind of stunned by it. Like I can't believe it.
we know we had the exact same section. I had verse one in the chorus,
Okay.
so we had the exact same section. But I think the thing about this song is that it doesn't hit you over the head with it.
Yes, I
Like
agree.
this is like a story song, like a story record, a storytelling record. Like where's J. Cole? Like that's what this song is. And I think like this was on my second listen is when I caught this and I was like, oh, something's going on here. And the ability to mix those is like, listen, we may have a queen of pop in the future on our hands. Like there is a lot of tools here that I'm like, there's something brewing
Yeah.
here. Okay. This is my favorite song on here, and I have this for lyrics as well. Body Feeling. Body Feeling was a song
Oh,
that the first time I listened to, I was like, yeah, this is my jam.
wow. Okay.
Um, so this is a song that I was like actually is getting saved and putting in a playlist. Um, on verse two, she says, "There ain't a soul in this room full of spirits, ears in the air waiting for the conspiracy. You know what's required of anyone in this business. Consequence of a glamorous life. Oh, how quick you were to fold. It came as a shock to me, honestly. Wasn't it obvious we'd be in this till we're old? I don't mind waiting. I said I'd be patient, but then I got a body feeling that I don't tell you about. I get a body feeling that I keep dancing around. I get a body feeling, but I'll ignore my body for you. I get a body feeling I never tell you about. I get a body feeling, the one I keep shutting down. I get a body feeling I'll ignore my body for you, for you. These two songs are connected in the way of there's some toxicity coming from April.
Ooh.
And the toxicity in the sense of to herself. Like this is the second song where you're seeing you're doing things you know are not good for you romantically. And it's
Hmm.
like, I'm gonna do them anyways, just to have you. And this song I think is a little different because, it's not, putting a cancer stick to your mouth.
Hmm.
Um, but there's still that self-awareness of I got a feeling I don't tell you about it. I keep dancing around it, but I'll ignore it. It's like I feel it's there. I won't tell you, but I'll ignore it too. So that theme I felt on here a few times of it's almost like one step further than unrequited love. You know, it's like a power dynamic where you're never gonna be in power, but you're okay with it.
Yeah, I agree. And she kind of has that same, like the opposite end result, but the same feeling that you were just talking about in Innuendo, which is super, like, this is a very sexual song. Um, but she has that feeling of like, or she emanates this feeling of like, kind of almost like a helplessness, almost like a being lost to the lust type of effect.
Same.
Yeah, I got it clean. Wake that up. Um,
Yo.
but yeah, so I wanted to bring up Innuendo, which is I love this song, man. You're talking about Gwen Stefani, Brockhampton, and I was even thinking about even trying to remember who I was thinking, even Britney Spears a little bit on this
Mm,
track. So I was like, okay, cool. Then I looked at the lyrics. I'm like, okay, let me see what she's actually talking about. She's saying innuendo and stuff like that, but she was basically mentioned this in the refrain, right? The refrain, which I would consider is the hook, because it kind of sets up everything else. Where she is like, it's just like I already know. Well, you don't gotta say another word, cause I already know your type of girl. You don't have to talk to me. Felt a little weekendish. I know, I mean at that moment.
very different.
I know what you want from me. That's actually a little weekend for real. It's finally time for me to get a turn, and part of me is hoping that I get you, get you, whatever, right? First of all, genuinely, actually, kind of weekendish type of lyrics, but this is like the setup of like she she already understand like or she has an idea of what the person wants, right? And is like totally surrendering to it. She's like she doesn't really care. It's like I know what you want from me. It's finally time for me to get my turn. right? And then there's even the end of it is like part of me is hoping that I get you, right? And actually, you know, create those feelings within you that I have despite you not displaying them, right? So again, songwriting. This what is this type of songwriting? Layered songwriting that is happening because progressively in this song, you can sense the vocal tone shift in what she says,
Mm-hmm.
and she starts to become like more aggressive, a little bit more irritated by it not working, right? So these are the type of things where I'm listening to. I'm like, how, where is it coming from? Like, where did this person come from? You know. So I think that it's really cool. What is happening on this Innuendo? Definitely, I would say, kind of annoyed me at the beginning when I first heard it. Like
Mm-hmm.
the reloading sound and the drop, like the sound, like it was kind of getting on my nerves. But then it it massages in, and then I'm massaged and I want to hear more of it. So yeah, Innuendo, one of the better written, I think, one of the better written songs on the album.
Yeah, and there's a lot of well-written songs on this album. Like,
Yeah, which is
it,
crazy. Isn't that crazy? Maybe we're just
no, 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 we're not. We're not.
maybe we're just
Listen, I think this album was well written in general.
yeah.
Like, it is well written for hyperpop. Like, that is what we are saying, you know. But it's well written in general.
Hmm.
I think that is more the surprise. Is that this album is as well written as it is.
Yeah.
Um,
What do you have to say about? Do you have any other lyrics?
no, go
No.
ahead, go ahead.
Do you have? What do you think about the album's cohesion? This is actually something important to talk about. I think for her project.
I don't think it really is cohesive.
Hmm.
Um, like even from an energy standpoint, like there are songs that are like almost like busy, but not actually fast paced.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I don't know that it actually is that cohesive. It's interesting because I thought about like if it's a no skips or not. That's something
Hmm.
I've been thinking about,
Hmm.
and it feels like a soft skip. Um,
Continue.
but I don't think it's cohesive. No.
I don't think it's cohesive, but I think the next step in her artistry is just making the songs transition seamlessly. Um, because the amount of progressions that happen in each song is legit like three or four per song. Switching genres multiple times, vocals, all that type of stuff. And I just think that a song like, I was talking about Hollywood Forever, where I was going, it became more of a dance song at the end, and then the guitar comes in, and then I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm floating away from the dance floor.
Hmm.
Part two, that, right? Where's the part two on that? Or just like transition into the next song again, but using the guitar as the main instrument. It kind of reminds me, like what I'm talking about is kind of like a Pink Panthers or Sampha type of thing, right? And this latest Sampha album, which was like 3 years ago, but it was the latest one. um,
Thanks.
use that, but Pink Panthers in particular, like she's unafraid to transition in those type of ways, and I think that because she is able to do so many progressions and transitions in one song, just her next thing is just like take it to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next till it's done. You know what I mean? So I think the cohesion
Uh,
is low
mhm.
cohesion, but I see potential because just like what you're doing inside the songs, just carry it on to multiple different songs.
I actually partially disagree with you,
Okay.
just because I think how do these songs live on their own? I don't think that takes away from some of these songs,
Hmm.
but we've mentioned some of these songs having pretty like crazy intros
Yeah.
and starting off, you know. So it's like I think that is that matters here of these songs living on their own, the style of these records,
Hmm.
and it's all we talk about what it means for her career. Like on her Spotify now, of her top 10 songs, seven of them are from this album You.
Yeah.
So I think that this is a huge thing for her career of having these records. And I think like an artist like this and an artist at this point in their career, 1.2 million monthly listeners on Spotify. These rotating as singles as individual songs is a huge part of that. So I think like all these big intros that we talked about, listen, we know that's what you need. You got like 15 seconds to hook the new listener. You know what I mean? So I think the transition of your records, like you're right that that is the next step, but
Hmm.
maybe that's the step after this step.
Right.
Like the next step. Because again, I think some of these songs, the intro was part of the charm of the song. So I think it does help her career. My thing is this because she did announce early on that there would be no features. It would be just her on the project. Not a big feature artist in general.
Who do you think she was? I think I mentioned OK Lou for my best album of the year last year.
Mhm.
They collabed, right, on the OK Lou.
Okay.
Yeah, on the OK Lou album. Who do you think could feature on her work? I know we brought up a bunch of names, but I can,
Hmm.
even though I was like, oh yeah, it's kind of reminds me of Justin Timberlake. I can never imagine Justin Timberlake on
No.
this album. So I'm like, who could even
Well,
be in jump on this with her?
here's the thing. I do have two names, and I thought rap first because I was like, it would be so interesting to see someone try and catch the tempo of these. So I first thought of JPEG Mafia.
Okay.
I was like, that would be very, very interesting. And then after that, I actually thought of K1. I know,
Oh,
random,
okay.
but I'm like, I feel like there's some parts in here where she's singing smoothly, and I'm like, K1 has this like, flow that can go with anything, it kind of feels
Hmm.
like. So I'd be interested.
Okay.
I'd be interested.
I thought of the obvious one, Pink Panthers. I feel like that's obvious. I think a song like Music, at the beginning, it at the beginning near the beginning, I was like, a little early Vince Staples might have eaten
Mm-mm.
on something like this. Um, then I guess Charlie XCX, but that's obvious as well. But that's where I am. I'm like, even if Brockhampton was still around, a Brockhampton type of feature, I think would have been interesting. So
I
I'm
I I think that those are almost too simple. Because I think
okay.
what she's doing is more advanced than that. And I
Well,
thought
I'm
of
gonna
when
go
go
ahead.
ahead, go ahead. No, you have another one.
I was like, I feel like I could draw Playboy Cardi on any single song of these, and I think it would have turned shit up big time.
Well, here's the thing. I think he brought the energy, but I think what she's actually doing vocally and lyrically,
Hmm.
he would be bringing it down. That's why I thought of
Okay.
someone like K1 or JPEG Mafia, who they have, the vocal style, but there's
Hmm.
actually some substance there. Because think about some of these lyrics we're talking about, and you throw in Playboy Cardi just making noise. It just doesn't. The song it doesn't fit. And the
Okay.
album
Okay.
I thought of was Indicud by Kid Cudi. That was the first album
Oh.
he produced on his own, did his own production. And of course, there's a ton of cool creative songs on here. Everyone remember Solo Dolo Part 2 with Kendrick Lamar.
Hmm.
And Kid Cudi said in interviews leading up to it, he was like, I wanted to work with some of your favorite rappers, but they thought my beats were too weird and couldn't rap on them. And he kind of flipped the script of that narrative of it was almost a flex to work with him because
Hmm.
it showed how good you were as a rapper. And I think I feel the same way about this project. So to me, I'm thinking of do they have actual talent and skill in terms of their dexterity, in terms of flow? But are they going to actually just rap to rap, or are they going to be able to hang? Because I think that's a part of it is she is actually a good writer.
Yeah,
So you
she
you
is.
need someone who's able to hang. I don't think just energy is what it is here. But let's know in the comments, okay? In the comments, let us know on YouTube, of course, and comment on Spotify now. Who do you want to hear on an underscores album in the future?
A little yeet out action couldn't hurt. I think
Yeet,
actually.
yeet,
Yeet
yeet couldn't
actually.
hurt.
Yeah, yeet
Yeah,
genuinely. Do
yeet would,
you
yeet would a good one.
okay. Um the cover.
Yes, the reason we're here.
What do you feel about this cover? Or do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
Let's hear what you had to say.
I think this cover is I don't really get it. Like I get what I understand. Well, I don't fully understand. Like I think it's like a robot person in a mall. That looks like a mall to me.
Well, this is gonna say it looks like a mall. She's doing her whole video dancing in the mall.
Okay.
The mall is somehow involved in this project. I don't understand what the mall is so important for.
Maybe it's all of the
Um,
genres of music smashed together when you're walking through a mall.
maybe, maybe. But the one thing I will say is I like the cover separately, but it does feel like it's brighter than the music.
Yeah, I
So
feel like
that's
it's
that.
not fitting the music properly.
Yeah, that's my only criticism, that it is so brighter than the music, but I like this cover as well.
Okay. Is it a no skips?
Not a no skips. I would say it's a soft skip. I think
Okay.
that some of these songs, even though they're good songs, the way they start makes them skippable. Like
I
you
see
start
what you're
this
talking about.
song and someone's like, turn this
Yeah.
off.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
understand. Innuendo is probably the best example of that, where it's just like
Hmm.
it starts a little bit weird. You have to be used to that weird. I love Brockhampton.
Hmm.
So I'm already in
Hmm.
that space, you know? So I can see what you're saying. I think it's a no skips for me, personally.
Oh wow.
I think it's a no skips. I am high on pretty much every song except for Body Feeling, and Body Feeling I'm not that high on just because it sounds extremely normal compared to everything else that is happening. Like that
Such a
song's
hipster. Such a hipster.
like that song's a little bit regular compared to everything else.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, is it a vinyl cop though?
I don't think so. Here's the thing. I don't have anything on vinyl that sounds like this, so
Hmm.
that's really my reason. Like, how often do I listen to Bombs Over Baghdad on vinyl?
Right.
You
Okay.
know, so I think that like I listen to my Cleo Soul D'Angelo vinyls more often than my Outkast vinyl.
Hmm.
So just off of genre alone, it's not a vinyl cop for me.
Okay. For me, this is a almost instant vinyl cop. I like a lot about what's happening on this album in a lot of
Hmm.
different facets. So it's a vinyl cop for me. Oh, did we talk about what this means for her career? You did, but I didn't. I will
Hmm.
say that this is a plus. Good music. We always talk about good music. There's nothing wrong with good music. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and we'll see if she gets the traction because there's gonna be people like us who are gonna be like, yeah, this is really good. Sorry to break the fourth wall a little bit there, but people like us are gonna say this is pretty good. But is it just middle enough where it starts getting, your average? That is probably going to be the thing. But I think it's good for her career overall. It's only 25, so it's nothing urgent happening.
Mhm.
I'm sure that she has like a diehard fan. People who make this type of music typically do. So I think it's good for her career. Okay, the moment everybody's been waiting for. I am sure the people who listen to this music are like, "What the fuck are these two black guys gonna say about this?"
If you made it this far, we appreciate you.
Yeah. So, Adriel, do
Mhm.
you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I'll go first because I have a question to pose into your score. So
Okay.
we'll do it like that.
So, Adriel, what is your score for underscores? You.
This is a 6.5
Wow.
for me. This album is actually very good. I just think
I wish people could see my face. That just makes me.
no, yeah, this album is actually very good. I want to give this a higher score, but I think
Mhm.
the things that it actually suffers at are part of the listening experience.
Okay.
And so I think, the sophisticated listener, we are in the minority. So an album that only we can enjoy loses some points there. You know what? No, 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 no. This is at least a 7. I gotta be real. This is at least a 7. 'Cause I think I'm
Okay.
gonna add a couple songs after this
Hmm.
review is done. But my question to you is, how much will you be listening to this album 2 months from now? Because now we're coming into April.
Right.
Albums that have been out this year that we've either liked or given good reviews of, some get more play than others.
Hmm.
And obviously, it's something you can't answer right now, and I've put that on the comments to weigh in as well. But that's something I'm curious about. How will this album be played 2 months from now? But I gotta come back to my score as a 7. This album is actually very good. And I think what's great about this project is that I see both something bigger, like I see much bigger things from underscores. But I think this is one of those albums where you can legitimately say to someone, you may just not understand. That's a cop out a lot of the time. This album is not that. It's actually accurate.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm gonna say, first of all, I think I'm gonna be listening to this after we would do the review 100% because I was just listening to it recreationally leading up to this review. Um, for me, underscores you. It's an 8.5 out of 10. This is really fucking good. I think I dispute your idea that your average can't listen to it because I feel like if you are not paying attention and you're just listening to just like the vibes, feeling, production, her vocals are pretty good. I think you can just get away with dancing to this music at like a club or something. Um, Not our club. No, 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 not our club. Not people that look like us, but there is a club that exists that is playing this music. I can assure you. Um,
Yes, yes.
so yeah, so I think that it's good in that sense. It's the songwriting is good, which again I am kind of stunned by because hyperpop typically does not have lyrics like that. And I think that the production, A1, the transition between genres, seamless. I never felt like there was ever an issue. My only drawback is I want to see the transition between songs now. I think that that is on the table for her. And more guitar on Hollywood Forever. Come on, miss that guitar, man. Bring the guitar back. But I think it's amazing. I think this is really fucking good. I think the only thing that uh it's missing is that smash song. It doesn't need to be, it doesn't need to be like a number one, but it needs to be like blow your doors off. I gotta show this to somebody type of song. And because it kind of doesn't have that. So say 8.5 out of 10. That's really fucking good for a
If
person that
anyone if anyone
uh-huh.
listens to this podcast, this is definitely a Demar 8 out of 10 type of album.
What do you
For
mean?
sure. For sure. It's no, it's really good. It's really good.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. And I'm looking forward to. I mean, it's really good, especially we have never listened to this person's music before,
Hmm.
right? So for us to be like, actually, this is really good, is
Hmm.
also another thing on top of everything else, right? So 8.5 from me, 7 from Adriel. You happy with your score? Are you sure? You said 6.5, and then you
Yes,
kind of
yes,
scooched it up.
yes. Yes. I actually started at 7.5, but I think, and this is the difference between me and you, is like I think of like everyone as a listener, you
Okay.
know? And I think like, yes, there is the kind of club that they're playing this record, but I think most people who go to clubs, if you walk in and you hear this, you're like, oh my God, give my money back. Even though I might disagree with them, say this is good music,
Hmm.
that holds some weight. That is some kind of way to measure how good something is.
Okay.
And you always say it has to sound good, you know.
Hmm.
And I think sometimes people don't have the patience to hear how good it sounds, but that is a part of this. So I'm happy with my score. I
Okay.
want to hear what everyone thinks in the comments. Of course, you can find us on YouTube at Album Mode on YouTube. Find us on the interwebs at Album Mode Pod on X, formerly known as Twitter, Album Mode Pod on Instagram, Album Mode Pod on TikTok. And of course, until next time, know yourself, know your worth.
Later days.